Lumberjack Logic Live. I'm your host, Neil Johnson. I love you folks. I love my audience. You're the best audience on all of YouTube. And I mean that with all sincerity. You guys are awesome. So thanks for joining me this evening. Please do smash that like. Do chat in with where you're from. I'm going to lower this camera just a little bit. Okay. And bring you the news, folks. So I've got a whole bunch of clips pulled. I'm going to probably run that live tomorrow. We're going to go over kind of the timeline on this whole Iran thing. We're going to talk more in depth about it. But folks, Donald Trump has proved them all wrong again. Okay? It's going to happen. As the time goes on, you're going to see this. And I'm going to share a couple things, some really insightful things with you tonight. First, I'm going to share with you, I woke up this morning and checked my phone. Rainmaker, good to see you on. Nancy from Florida, good to see you on. Again, please smash that like, chat in with where you're from. This is what I woke up to this morning. One of my listeners, longtime listeners, sent me a text and he said, your boy Trump is full of crap. Iran denied ceasefire because obviously yesterday I talked about the ceasefire. Actually, Anderson Cooper with Caitlin Collins on CNN even had to say that Iran said that they agreed to the ceasefire. The deal was brokered through Qatar. All this happened, okay? So there was not a single word of my reporting that was crap, nor was Donald Trump's statement about it crap, okay? But this is what I wake up to. And I'm going to tell you something. I actually, when something comes out of Trump's mouth, when he says something like this on a major announcement, guess what? I believe him. I believe him. I don't believe the fake mainstream media. I don't believe propagandists. I actually believe what Trump has to say about stuff like this. How many of you think Trump would go out and make a major announcement about a ceasefire if it wasn't actually real? Like, what would he gain from that? So this is my response to him. I still like the guy. Look, just because people don't agree with me doesn't mean I don't like them. It doesn't mean that they're not right some of the times. All of this stuff. I can't. I am not going to abandon friends just because they think differently or, like in this case, they're completely wrong. Okay? How many of you believe President Trump when he says something? How many of you believe him? Yes or no? Especially on something like this, on an announcement like this. I don't see, what does he have to gain by lying about it? Gosh, this is so silly. All right. This was my response to him. Again, here was his tweet, here was his text to me. Your boy Trump is full of crap. Iran denied ceasefire. And I said, and you believe Iran over Trump? You think that Iran never agreed and Trump went public with the agreement? Just like Iran had enrichment facilities of their peaceful civilian nuclear program buried 300 feet below the surface? It's very obvious who's full of crap, and it isn't Trump. If Iran wants to break their agreement, that's on them, not Trump. Well, it turns out we found out this morning it wasn't just Iran who couldn't keep the agreement. Obviously, Israel had problems with it. And Trump said that so Trump is like a dad here with two kids who can't get along. It's nuts. This whole thing is nuts over there. But I got more for you. I'm going to read a little Bible to you tonight. This could be an interesting show. Again, it doesn't have all the clips, okay, that I wanted to pull in here because I had to do this quick. I was out of the area today. But here's the new thing coming out on CNN. This is so nuts. Okay. So last week, CNN told us that the U.S. intelligence says that Iran is years away from developing a nuclear weapon. Then Trump pulls off with the military the most crazy, successful, great operation ever. Okay? David, you are right. We should step away and go fishing for a new state of mind. That's what I need to do tomorrow. Okay? Heck with it. Maybe I won't even do a show. I'll go fishing. Look, This is nuts. So they tell us that years, CNN tells us years, Iran, peaceful, loving Iran, man. Just a peace-loving guys. They're years away from developing a nuke. They don't even have any interest in it. They bury all that crap beneath the surface just for funsies, folks. Just for funsies. This is what they do. So today, what does CNN tell us? Okay? The U.S. intel says that Iran's nuclear program has only been set back a few months. It's just honestly what they said. Last week, they were 5 years away from success. Now, today, they've heard from some low-ranking intelligence official that the strikes really weren't that effective. Well, again, as somebody who tends to believe Trump, let me go to Trump's post on Truth Social. Well, actually, he tweeted. He tweeted today. Here he is, Donald Trump. What did he say? He said, fake news, CNN, together with the failing New York Times, have teamed up in an attempt to demean one of the most successful military strikes in history. The nuclear sites in Iran are completely destroyed. Both the Times and CNN are getting slammed by the public. Again, I would go with Trump over CNN. How many of you in my fine audience would believe Trump over the Communist News Network, the Clinton News Network, and the New York Times? Are you going to believe the mainstream media, or are you going to believe the president who's actually fulfilling his promises? This is insane. I can't even believe this is a question. I cannot believe the people who were supposed to be Trump supporters who are then turning on him. It blows my mind. I can't with it. There are things that I have not agreed with Trump on. There are things I haven't agreed with Trump on that I haven't even really talked about because I don't see what good it would do. He's doing so much good. Okay, people say deportations aren't fast enough. Fine, they're not fast enough. ICE is actually deporting people, though. The border has been shut down. Shut down. Zero crossings. It's just unbelievable. And people are going, oh no, he put some bombs on Iran. Okay, so now, here's how Trump proved them all wrong today. What did he tell Israel to do? Anybody who's kept up with the news today, what did Trump tell Israel to do? And then what did Israel do? I thought Trump did Israel's bidding. That's what they told us. Haven't you guys heard this? Trump's just doing Israel's bidding. Trump's just doing Israel's bidding. Wait. Yeah, they turned the planes around. Israel turned the planes around. So who's in charge? Is it Netanyahu or is it Trump? Can we just stop with all this? Oh my gosh, just gives me a headache. These people and their mental gymnastics. It's nuts to me. It's nuts. Folks, I got to mention my sponsor. I love them. Birch Gold, folks. Gold, best performing asset there is in the last year. I mean, at least in my portfolio, by far and away. Go get yourself some gold from Birch Gold. Text Lumberjack 2. What is it? My God, I got to look it up. 939-848. Help me out. Somebody, one of my mods, help me out. I'm so worked up about it. I mean, I say this all the time, and now I can't even remember it. Text Lumberjack to 989-898. No obligation, just useful information. Get your free info kit on gold and silver. Silver's way up too. Text Lumberjack to 989-898. Thank you so much, folks. Anyways, I am just a big believer in this stuff. I've owned it. Yeah, physical gold and silver. Physical gold and silver, not stuff on paper in the comics, which is terribly inflated. I think it's there's only of the paper traded silver right now. Okay, so there's all this silver traded in paper. I think that it's only 4% of that total dollar value is real silver. It's wild. I mean, so it's crazy stuff. Anyways, go check them out. Birch Gold. They're the best. All right. Now I'm going to read something. This is a statement. I want you to pay attention to every word of this. All right. I'll get into the Bible here in just a second. Because there are certain realities you need to understand as I get into this Bible portion of it, that it doesn't matter. What God has ordained to happen will happen. Okay. That's just a reality. Okay. So when I get to that part, but first, I'm going to read, I think, one of the best posts I've seen on X in a long time. And the guy wrote it a week ago. So now I want you to think about the guy writing this a week ago and think about this now. All right? This is from David Clements. Many of you know David Clements. I've actually had him on the show a couple of times. He used to be a law professor. Has been a strong Trump supporter. So here he says, I don't get how unstable some of the conservative influencers are about Trump on 1, immigration, 2, war, and 3, free trade. Did the past 10 years not provide any insight into how he operates? In a 24-hour window, frequent ass kissers now call him a traitor, that he betrayed MAGA, etc. Trump had this. So again, this was back, just after it had all started. Carrie, I see that super sticker. I thank you. Thank you. Seriously, Carrie, you have been such a great supporter of this show. Thank you. So this is back when Israel first started bombing Iran. And then they were all saying that Trump was a traitor and he betrayed MAGA, etc. He goes on. Again, this is from Clements. This isn't me. This is so brilliant. I got to read it all to you. Trump has a method to his madness. I stopped paying attention to what he says as the most reliable indicator as to what he actually believes. Again, please smash that like. Do chat in with where you're from. He has an uncanny ability to use his media appearances and social media posts to cause deep staters, warmongers, and globalists at cross purposes with his goals to constantly be off balance. He generates tells like a master poker player and uses the media's and people's responses to calibrate where MAGA principle needs to yield to MAGA pragmatism. He deals with domestic and foreign policy terrain as it exists. Folks, this is so important. You cannot deal with the world as you want it to be. You have to deal with the realities as they are. And people's perceptions are their reality. Understand that. Okay? When you're talking with somebody, their perception is their reality. It doesn't matter if it's the real reality. Their perception is reality to them. Y'all understand that? Okay? I worked in business, sales, and negotiation for years. I just wanted to get to a productive end. I did not waste time in idle talk. I did not waste time just arguing over words and minor details like that. I just worked to the productive end. I was very good at it. I was the best in my industry. That's not to brag. I am just telling you that you cannot see the world how you want it to be. You have to see the world how it is. One of the best ways to determine how the world is the Bible. Now, I'm going to tell you, this runs counterculture to man's wisdom because man's wisdom is folly against the knowledge of the Lord. Okay? But I'm going to get to that in a second. First, let's get back to this. Okay? I went off on a little side tangent there, but I hope you guys get where I'm saying. So he deals with domestic and foreign policy terrain as it exists, dispensing with the usual ivory tower debate as inferior to actionable maneuvering, where he can continue to improve the playing field regarding the big 3 issues above. And again, those big 3 issues are immigration, war, and the economy, free trade. Okay? Give it enough time, the results will follow. Focus on Trump's results. You want illegal restaurant staff and big ag employees deported? Fair enough. But don't lose sight that ICE is more active today than any time in the last 4 decades. Okay? I've heard this. People are like, oh, he's going to exempt big ag and restaurant. Folks, he's still been raiding Big Egg and restaurants. He actually just focused on the major sanctuary cities in a brilliant move by ICE officials. Here they are active, more than they've ever been, shut down the border, and everybody is on a gripe rage. It's insane to me. This is insane. Folks, do you understand how insane this is to sit here and go off on Trump? Oh, man, he's going to let hospitality workers go. He hasn't. Oh, gosh. God help us all. I just can't. All the postulating that people do, just give it a few days and watch the results of Trump. Okay? Hey, if you're new to the show, subscribe. It's free. Free for you today. I'm going to let you subscribe for free. All right. You don't like the optics over what Trump knew in advance of Israel's preemptive strike? Fair enough. But he hasn't deployed our forces in an active theater of war yet. And his unbelievable restraint during his first term while surrounded by the likes of John Bolton and not going to war shows where his heart is. Okay? So Trump does not want war. He has always said, though, that Iran can't have a nuke. So he takes and initiates a surgical strike, takes out nuclear facilities, and I think it's brilliant. Think tariffs are taxes? Fair enough. But look at how he has sought to take a sledgehammer to business as usual with the globalists, as prices are going down at the pump and grocery store while generating trillions in investment. Those with eyes to see and ears to hear are witnessing greatness. Okay? Now, I saw a comment that said MTG is right. I've met Marjorie Taylor Greene. Many of you know I've interviewed her. I like her. I like how she deals with her constituents. That doesn't mean she's right. And she's not right on this. And I actually think that the most foolish thing that people can do is make these long-winded tweets about how, sanctimonious they are about not going to war. You have to, again, deal with the world as it is. I don't get the presidential daily briefing. I don't get it. Does anybody get it? Maybe Luke the naysayer gets it. Luke, do you get the daily presidential briefing, Luke? Okay. Prices, of course, are going to rise when there's conflict in the Middle East. We know that. That's not a big deal. It's a temporary thing. Okay. We're going to drill more oil at home. Okay. And I think Marjorie Taylor Greene just needs to apologize. Okay? I think she just needs to apologize to President Trump for the things she said. Okay, now, let me see. I've got to make sure I cover it all. I also want you to know when you hear about this kind of intelligence crap, do you remember when Harry Reid, once President Trump had secured the nomination, Harry Reid said to give the president fake briefings. Okay? Fake briefings. That's what Harry Reid said. He asked the intelligence community to commit treason. Okay, so I've got those. Here's a fun one, though, for you folks. I just want you to know, I'm sure you're all concerned, that Rachel Ziegler, that's right, Snow White, used therapy, anti-anxiety meds to get through the Snow White backlash. So she had to, folks. It was too much for her. She was having PTSD trauma over it all. Cynthia, good to see you on. I've met Cynthia, folks. My listener here, Cynthia. I'm not sure if I'm going to say your last name right. Cynthia Buse. Anyways, I met her down in Little Falls. She came to visit me at an art show. Anyways, she's a nice gal. I like her. All right. Now, let's go on to the next thing. Here in Minnesota, said Cynthia from Minnesota just commented. How many of you are worried about sleeper cells here at home, Iranian sleeper cells? I'm very serious about this. I want to know how many of you are actually worried about Iranian sleeper cells here in the country after the open border of 4 years. Okay, how many of you are concerned about that? Okay, some are worried. Okay, a lot of you are worried. Here, let me give you something. This could cause more fear for you, or it could calm your fears, depending upon how you want to look at this. But Alpha News reported today, former member of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps was arrested in St. Paul today by ICE. Okay. ICE says Mehran Makari Sahili is an Iranian national, a convicted felon, a former member of Iran's IRGC, and has admitted connections to the terrorist organization Hezbollah. Okay? Arrested. Now, it gets better, folks. This whole report gets better because they actually arrested 11 Iranian nationals. Okay? Just over this last weekend. 11. Now, okay, couple things. July 4th, no King's protest. I talked to friends who are completely convinced, and they've talked to people in the intel community. They're completely convinced that something bad is going to happen at one of these no King's protests. I actually can totally believe that. The left is unhinged. They're nuts right now. They're losing. Okay? But this guy, 57-year-old Sahili, was illegally present in the United States after an immigration judge ordered him to leave the country 3 years ago. So 3 years ago, this guy, again, a convicted felon, Iranian national, former member of Iran's IRGC, admitted connections to the terrorist organization Hezbollah. A major component of the Iranian military, the IRGC, contains Iran's ground, naval, aerospace, and other forces. Okay? The FBI isn't tracking down J6ers and doing pre-dawn raids on pro-life advocates anymore. They're actually going after real criminals. And ICE is sharing information with the FBI. They're all working together in coordinated effort. Trump reassigned members of the ATF, officers from ATF, from DHS, from all over. All have been assigned to these deportation operations. It's amazing. So, what we have here is now not only this guy in Minnesota being arrested, but 11 total. So they realized the threat. Okay. Our government, our Federal Bureau of Investigation, our ICE, DHS, all of them understand the threat, and they are focused on removing these people now. Okay. Frog feeder. That's bold, man. I kind of heart that. Did you guys catch Frog Feeder's comment? He super chatted me. He said, if any Iranians see this, please, please, please try to sleeper cell me. Oh, somebody's armed and dangerous. All right. So here's the thing. Sahili's in ICE custody. Okay. The arrest of Sahili was one of several operations DHS conducted over the weekend, which led to the apprehension of 11 Iranian nationals who are allegedly in the United States illegally. These Iranian nationals, folks, listen to this, were arrested in Arizona, California, Colorado, Georgia, Minnesota, Mississippi, New York, and Texas. According to DHS, those arrested include an individual with admitted ties to Hezbollah, a known or suspected terrorist, and an alleged former sniper of the Iranian army. Okay, folks, I am all for debate and realistic comments. Todd, we're going to put you in a timeout. We're going to put you in a timeout for 5 minutes. See if you can behave yourself, Todd. Okay, Bibi isn't what we need to worry about. He's not what we need to worry about, Todd. Okay? Iranian sleeper cells, Iran, who apparently, from all intelligence reports, actually wanted to take out our president. Our glorious president, Donald Trump. Okay? Bibi Netanyahu isn't our chief concern. Many of the apprehensions came the day after the United States launched a covert bombing mission that destroyed 3 Iranian nuclear facilities. That bombing was a part of the ongoing conflict in the Middle East between Iran and Israel. At publication time, Israel and Iran had agreed to a ceasefire. Okay? On Sunday, DHS issued a National Terrorism Advisory System bulletin announcing a heightened threat environment due to the conflict. In that advisory, the federal government warned that low-level cyber attacks against U.S. networks by pro-Iranian hacktivists are likely. Cyber actors affiliated with Iran government may conduct attacks against U.S. networks. DHS also warned that the likelihood of violent extremists in homeland independently mobilizing to violence in response to the conflict would likely increase if Iranian leadership issued a religious ruling calling for retaliatory violence against the targets in the homeland. My prediction is Iran is not going to do that because Israel was so effective in taking out their mobile missile launchers. We took out their nuke facilities. They had a lot come down on them, and they even forewarned us about firing some rockets at our bases, which were all shot down except one that was flying errantly into the ocean or somewhere like that. So Iran's on its heels. No, where was this? Okay, here it is. My favorite of the day. I saw somebody take the again, go check out Birch Gold. Text Lumberjack to 989-898 to get your free info kit on gold and silver. Okay. Mike Lindell is putting together a special deal for me tomorrow. I'll let you know about that when it goes live. He reached out to me today. So for our audience, we're going to get specials again. We always get the best specials. Anyways, Trump blasts Ilhan Omar. She does nothing but complain about our country. Okay, and this is so great because Donald Trump put out a truth. I'm going to read it because it's absolutely fantastic. And somebody put it to Star Wars opening, like on X. I might have reposted her if I just liked it. Anyways, stupid AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, one of the dumbest people in Congress. Oh, wait, I had one other thing I had to cover with you here, and I forgot to. Where is it? It's on my page. Where's my profile? I lost it. Here we go. I tweeted this up. I said, okay, I agree. Thomas Massie is officially a schmuck. Dumbest possible tweet of all time. What an ass. And here's what he tweeted. It was a response to J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance said, I wonder if other VPs had as much excitement as I do. And kind of laughed about it. Okay? Thomas Massie responded to him. And what did Thomas Massie say? Ask Mike Pence about his last month. That was Thomas Massie's response to J.D. Vance talking about having an exciting time as vice president. What do you guys think that Thomas Massie, the schmuck, is referring to? I've gone light on Thomas Massie up until this. I was like, he's probably just a guy with different ideas. Thomas Massie's probably, whatever. I mean, just sees things a little differently. What do you think Thomas Massie was referring to here? Ask Mike Pence about his last month. So now he's become a Nancy Pelosi J6er? Is that what Thomas Massie has become? This stupid chameleon who's signing on to bills with AOC and Ilhan Omar? Freaking insane. Thomas Massie. Well, he's pathetic. I can't with the guy. I can't. All right. Just had to get that out. I'd always just, thought whatever. I don't come out strong against people until they do something like that. So when Janelle says you always give people the benefit of the doubt, Neil. Well, I try to. I mean, I would want to be given the benefit of the doubt. I mean, wouldn't you guys want to? Not, it's easy to misunderstand people. But after people go on and on and on and then say something like that, I'm thinking, what an ass. What an ass. Donald Trump, stupid AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, one of the dumbest people in Congress, is now calling for my impeachment. despite the fact that crooked and corrupt Democrats have already done that twice before. The reason for her rantings is all of the victories that the USA has had under the Trump administration. The Democrats aren't used to winning, and she can't stand the concept of our country being successful again. When we examine her test scores, we will find out that she is not qualified for office, but nevertheless far more qualified than Crockett, who is a seriously low IQ individual, or Ilhan Omar, who does nothing but complain about our country. Yet the failed country that she comes from doesn't have a government, is drenched in crime and poverty, and is rated one of the worst in the world. And if it's even rated at all. Talking about Somalia there. How dare the mouse tells us how to run the United States of America. We're just now coming back from the radical left experiment with Sleepy Joe, Kamala, and the auto pen in charge. What a disaster it was. AOC should be forced to take the cognitive test that I just completed at Walter Reed Medical Center as part of my physical. As the doctor in charge said, President Trump aced it. Meaning, I got every answer right. Instead of her constant complaining, AOC should go back home to Queens, where I was also brought up, and straighten out her filthy, disgusting, crime-ridden streets in the district she represents and which she never goes to anymore. She better start worrying about her own primary before she thinks about beating our great Palestinian senator, crying Chuck Schumer, whose career is definitely on very thin ice. She and her Democrat friends have just hit the lowest poll numbers in congressional history. So go ahead and try impeaching me again. Make my day. All right, folks, I haven't even gotten to the Bible part yet. I was just going to shut it down and you guys weren't even going to get this. So I've got more to say on this, but this is just a little piece here. And I was talking with my pastor the other day, and I'm going to read you something from Jeremiah 49:34. Okay, so if you're following along, you want to get your Bible out. This is the holy word of God. Folks, how can you determine God's will for your life? I'm asking you a serious question. How can you determine God's will for your life? The answer is in the Bible. Coincidentally, how can you determine God's will for your life? Okay, this is the holy word of the Lord. The word became flesh and dwelt among us. Okay, to determine God's will for your life, Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. Okay? You want to lean on your own understanding, it will run you amiss. Okay? So listen to this. Judgment on Elam. Now, just so you know, Elam was is part of Iran. So there was Persia and Elam, okay? And Elam was kind of in the south. But this is what it said. And according to my pastor, he said he couldn't think of a time. He'd been looking this up and he talked with somebody else about it. They couldn't think of a time where this had come through before. So now this is, he thinks that this is kind of defining some of what's happening today. The word of the Lord came to Jeremiah the prophet concerning Elam in the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah, king of Judah. Thus says the Lord of hosts, behold, I will break the bow of Elam, the mainstay of their might. I will break the bow of Elam, the mainstay of their might. So what would the bow be? Okay? What would the bow of Elam be? I mean, what would that be symbolic of? Does it mean God's going to take a single bow that rests in the capital of Elam and break it? There you go, Debs. The weapon. That's right. It's symbolic of the weapon of war, their might. It's symbolic, the mainstay of their might. So Iran has been, they've launched over 200 during the Biden administration, do you guys realize that they launched over 200 attacks on U.S. military bases? And why were other administrations afraid to take on Iran? Because of their nuclear program. Okay. So that was, as we talked about this, we thought that had the potential. I'm not a prophet. Please, folks, understand. I am not a prophet. I'm not a prophet. I'm not going down that road. Okay. Every time somebody says they're a prophet, I start freaking out. All right. So, but Jeremiah was a prophet. Okay. So potentially now, again, I'm not for certain on all this. I'm going to be, Pastor and I are going to look into this a little bit more. He's actually going to be doing a sermon on it on Sunday. If you guys want to catch that sermon, I'll post it on my Neil of the North channel. Okay. Gosh, I got to remember to do that now. Gosh, I usually go to church and I do not think about recording it. But how many of you would be interested in seeing that? He's going to be pulling back verses from the Old Testament, talking about this. I love him. It's actually, he's retired now. He's our former pastor, but he's going to be doing that. But so some of you would, I'm not going to put it on my main channel because it's not what this channel is for. This is for politics and stuff. But I have a channel that I post fun stuff on, and I have put some of my son's sermons up there and stuff. So I will put it. You have to go to Neil of the North. Okay, that's the channel. You can just search on YouTube, Neil Neil of the North. Okay, so and I will. Lord help me remember to put that up, and I will live stream that service. Okay. So you'll have to go over there and subscribe and turn on notifications so you get it. But we do church at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning, 10 o'clock Central Time. But then there'll be worship, which I won't put in there because that's copyright stuff. Yeah, so that's how that'll work. So it'll probably start at like 10:30 when he does the actual sermon. Okay. But I'll break the bow of Elam, the mainstay of their might, and I will bring upon Elam the four winds from the four quarters of heaven. We didn't know what that meant, okay? But it goes on. It says, and I will scatter them to all those winds, and there shall be no nation to which those driven out of Elam shall not come. So I don't believe, based upon this prophecy, that you have seen the end of what's happening in Iran. I will terrify Elam before their enemies and before those who seek their life. I will bring disaster upon them. My fierce anger, declares the Lord. I will send the sword after them until I have consumed them. Okay? And then it says this. And I will set my throne in Elam and destroy their king and officials, declares the Lord. And then he goes with this. The Lord says, but in the later days, I will restore the fortunes of Elam, declares the Lord. So their fortunes will then be restored. I don't know why. Okay. But that is the land that is now Iran. That much is true. Whether this prophecy has already been filled, we could not think of a time when it had. Maybe it already has. Or maybe this wasn't part of that prophecy. But this could very easily be. So everything got reset on the clock when Israel became a nation again. Okay. When it was literally formed just like that. It's wild. And they got their land back. So anyhow, I don't know where all that goes, but I do know, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will make your path straight. Folks, if you want to know what you really need to focus on, okay, you can set your calendar to send you a reminder message. That's not a bad idea. Maybe I'll do that after here, after I get off. But what was I going to say? No, I got distracted by that. Oh, the biggest thing, folks, the biggest thing for us to see revival in the land, we need to love people. Okay. I just, please, for the love of all things, love people. Love those who you find tough to love. Love those who are mean to you. Okay? If you ever want to read a really fascinating book, read Tortured for Christ, the story of Richard Wurmbrand. Okay? Love is the name of the game. Okay? You know, I saw Deb's post, do unto others. What is that? Tell me exactly how that verse goes. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, or love your neighbor as yourself. So here's the thing, folks. If you think ill of yourself, if you're running yourself down and saying, oh man, I screwed up again. Oh, geez, why did I do that? You're not going to be able to love others well. If you're not doing good and saying good unto yourself, you're not going to do and say good unto others. So the first step for you, the only hope, is to really figure out how much God loves you. Okay? I am really serious about this. It is, I've been down roads of, beating myself up over stuff and all that. It is not going to do you any good. So I've been waking up and praying, and I'll just tell you some of what I'm praying. And it's so refreshing to me. Oh Lord, thank you so much that you carried that cross for me to prove your love to me. You are such an awesome God. You showed me how to love others. And I get to share in your sufferings. You allow me the privilege of sharing in your sufferings. You told me that trouble will come. So why would I ever expect it not to? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego didn't pray for the fire to go away. Okay? And you didn't take the fire away. You sat with them in that furnace and you delivered them. You can deliver me every single day of my life. Okay? And don't fall for man's reasoning on this. Don't get into wall building around yourself and protecting your peace. Jesus is your peace. Okay? Jesus is your peace. All right. I love y'all. Okay? You can live like Jesus. Okay? This is possible. I mean, I've not arrived here yet. I am just telling you, you can love like Jesus because he lives in you. And he said, greater things will you do. And he's talking about the love thing. See, he is the vine. You are the branch. If you are grafted into the vine, you can do all things. Apart from him, you can do nothing. Nothing. Nothing of value, folks. You cannot love. Agape love. The kind of love that the world needs. You can't do it without him. You can't. You can't. You can't. It's a real thing. I love y'all. Okay. I'm going to go read this book some more because it breathes life. Okay. Too much politics will rob you of your joy. It will. It will. Here I am, a guy who covers news, telling you not to. I'm just telling you, it's real. Okay. If you don't always have to watch my news. You can listen to some preachers who do really good things. Just whatever. But if they're not telling you to love like Christ loved, and that's a hard message, don't listen to them. All right. I love y'all. Keep fighting the good fight. We'll see you on the next episode. Remember, go check out Birch Gold. Text Lumberjack to 989-898 to get your free info kit on gold and silver. Peace out, folks.